This was insane to witness as the Winnipeg Jets stormed back down 2 to beat the St. Louis Blues in Game 7 to advance to the second round. We're going to break down this game, the implications heading into the next series, and everything you need to know later on this episode. Before we get into that, if you're a part of the 89.1% watching this that's not subscribed yet, and you enjoy St. Louis Blues, the Winnipeg Jets, or just the rest of the NHL, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button, and we'll keep you up to date from everything to do around the league. But with that, Darius, we got to hit straight on this first topic today, where we do see the Jets won in double overtime versus the St. Louis Blues 4-3. This game was madness. I mean, looking at the chance of winning for the Winnipeg Jets, almost dropping down to 0% with 3 seconds left. We see the Jets tied up, go to overtime, win in double overtime. This game was insane. This was the 5th time in NHL history a team has rallied back from a multi-goal deficit in the third period of Game 7 and the first since the Stars last night. I'm just going to throw it to you. What is your thoughts on just this game, which was one of, if not the best games in the past 10 years?
Well, I just want to start by saying, St. Louis Blues fans, I am so sorry because we know there's a lot of you watching this who are subscribed to the channel, and your support's been unbelievable, and Winnipeg Jets fans. And I just want to say that for both fan bases, St. Louis Blues fans, we're going to have way more Blues content coming your way on the channel. Don't go anywhere just because the season's done. And obviously, the Winnipeg Jets are moving on to round 2. We're going to have a ton of stuff. We're going to cover everything that's happening with them. But in terms of this game, that was incredible. I mean, in terms of game sevens, they're always really good. And last night was great with the Dallas Stars obviously beating in dramatic fashion with Mikko Rantanen the Colorado Avalanche. But this one said, hold my beer. This was unbelievable to watch. The drama, the theater, it was fantastic. I mean, the start of the game was exactly what we were all talking about, right? When you go back to the start of the game, you're looking at Connor Hellebuyck and you're like, oh my goodness, this is genuinely a problem, right? He settled into the game very nicely. And again, that goal right at the end of the second, the WTF line, right? It's a backbreaker for the Winnipeg Jets. You never like those goals, but they still stormed back with less than 2 minutes left. It was incredible to see. So the Winnipeg Jets moving on to round 2, and it was crazy. This was literally insane to witness. It was a great series. I did call, from the beginning, the Blues in 7. Didn't go that way, but it did go 7 games. And I did say in our pregame video, Mark, that the Jets, you asked me, they need a hero. They need somebody to step up here. You have Mark Scheifele out, and throughout the game they lost Josh Morrissey, which is something we're going to touch on too, very early in the game. And who stepped up for them? It was Cole Perfetti in those moments. And we were talking a little bit about that pregame. So he stepped up. He made a stamp on this series, and the Jets are going on to round 2.
And I mean, the big thing is, listen, Cole Perfetti was outstanding, tying this up with 2 nasty tips. But the OT hero coming in, Adam Lowry, Ice Caps legend, anyone from Newfoundland watching this. But the big thing with this game is we've really seen a back and forth. This was a game that the St. Louis Blues came in, dominated. In the first, the second period, the Jets kind of came back. The third period rally, this was a masterpiece of the game. This was a much-watched game, and we've been saying this for the longest time. I mean, looking at this, the big key to look at is the fact, yes, Hellebuyck wasn't the best once again. He came out the win, so who really cares? But I want to give a shout-out and flowers to Jordan Binnington, allowing these 4 goals on 47 shots. This was a masterclass. We know how good Binnington was. The road games kind of took away from the St. Louis Blues. We kind of seen it in the past couple games leading into this on home. If this was Game 7 in St. Louis and Enterprise Center, I think they came out with a win. Obviously, this didn't happen, but I mean, just looking at this, what is your thoughts on how good Binnington is and just overall Hellebuyck heading into round 2?
He always comes big in these moments, right? We talk about it all the time. He's done it time and time again in, Boston twice, even this year in the Four Nations face-off, obviously back in 2019, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. And he did everything in this game to keep them in it because, at times the Blues weren't pushing like we know that they can, right? And even Robert Thomas, I thought he was very tentative in overtime as well. I thought that he could take, he has the ability to take over games, and I feel like he was a little tentative. So, Jordan Binnington made some big saves, having to stop over 40 shots. And, he was a big reason why this series went this far. And, obviously the goal scoring at home for the St. Louis Blues as well. But that was a big story in this game. So shout out flowers. We're talking about him the whole time to Jordan Binnington because, another really big performance there for the St. Louis Blues. And, he's locked up for a couple more years, obviously. And this Blues team, like, they're pretty young too. That's something that's, maybe being overshadowed in all of this. in this series against the Jets, because the whole story was, Connor Hellebuyck and what's going to happen in game 7. But this is still a very young team to build off of, their first year with Jim Montgomery as well. And the defense score was really impressive to me. So again, Jordan Binnington, fantastic. And, I don't think there's anything to, obviously, you're going to feel sad if you're a St. Louis Blues fan, right? But looking, forward, you have some really good pieces here.
And a lot of commenters down there looking at, they said they were playing with house money. No one expected the Blues to go on this type of run going into the playoffs or in the playoffs itself. And like you said, this is such a young team, and this is just scratching the surface of the young talent they have throughout the NHL, the AHL, moving into other leagues, which we will break down on, so you're not going to want to miss that. But let's get into a big topic here, and that's, of course, the Winnipeg Jets losing Josh Morrissey. What was it, 3 minutes into the game? Hellebuyck having the yips to start the game, coming out, really dominating for the next 3 periods. This was a team that really showed that, listen, we kind of sucked at certain points of this playoffs, but we are standing on our ground. We're not giving up, as you can see, with them scoring and tying it with 3 seconds left. I mean, what is your overall thoughts on just the Winnipeg Jets team, how they turn it around, and what it's going to be like playing the Dallas Stars?
For everything that was said about them in this series, and they're chokers, frauds, all of that. I mean, we were making fun of it on the channel as well, having fun with it, of course, with both fan bases. But for everything that was made out of Connor Hellebuyck in this series, and the fact that they let it go to 7 games, they were missing players in every single game this series. I mean, they got Gabe Vilardi back only halfway through the series. Same with Nikolaj, Ehlers. Then tonight, obviously, you're missing Mark Scheifele for the last 2 games. And then, 3 minutes in, like you said, Josh Morrissey goes down, your number 1 defenseman. And then what are you going to do with 5 defensemen throughout the rest of the game? Neil Pionk played over 40 minutes in this game and obviously had the game-winning shot. It was tipped in by Adam Lowry, right? So he had a fantastic performance. So really gutsy effort for the Winnipeg Jets. I think there's a lot of question marks moving forward, honestly, still. And again, we can break it down in future videos and maybe a little bit more in a couple of minutes. But, there's still a lot going on in terms of them moving to the second round, because you never like to see an injury like that to Josh Morrissey. And what's going to happen with Connor Hellebuyck? If you get goaltending like that against the Dallas Stars, it's going to be tough to win games. It really is. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. But again, in terms of this game tonight, a gutsy effort from the Winnipeg Jets to pull that out. And I thought they were fantastic. One of the best teams with the goalie pulled, honestly. Like, there was no chance St. Louis was going to score in the empty net. Like, usually it's, you're probably getting pressure. It's harder to put the pucks to the net, and the team that is, going against the empty net might get a chance there to ice the game. There was no chance for the St. Louis Blues to do that. It was unbelievable the way they were moving the puck around. So, credit where credit is due. The Winnipeg Jets, that was a gutsy effort to pull that one out.
And I mean, listen, we're looking at that second pairing of Neil Pionk. A lot of people, even us, were saying on the channel how good the Sandberg-Pionk pairing has been this year. But listen, Winnipeg Jets fans, listen, Blues fans. This was one of the best 7-game series, not only this year, we've had in quite some time. Yes, you have a lot of Game 7s in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Blues in 2019 had to deal with the Boston Bruins as well. But this year was insane to witness. This was much watched TV from game 1 to 7. This was awesome, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed this content, enjoyed watching both teams. So if you want to stay up to date on all that, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. Like we said, Blues fans, so we're not giving up your content. So you want to stick around for that, and Jets fans, if you want to stick around for the second round content too, we'll be covering all that. But if you enjoy this, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Leave a comment of your favorite moment from the 7-game series. Who was most impressive over the 7 games? Cam Fowler was outstanding. Binnington as well. Go down and leave a comment down below. But I've been your host, Mark Pye, with my co-host Darius, and take care.